Long time no see. Let's see if anybody's interested in playing with me. Let's fix that camera. The heck? I'm all crooked here. Hello, long time no see, Kristen. We're back. Give it a few minutes for people to get in here. I'm going to try to. Hello again. Whoop. That should be good. That should be good. We'll give it a few minutes for everybody to get in here. Just going to set up some stuff here. We're going to go for it. Grab my little blow dryer. Yeah, let's see. I think that's it for now. So, hello. I'm stuck on something here. Let's see who we have. Hello. Oh, hello from Switzerland. We are hopefully going to help some people tonight that are struggling. That is my main mission with YouTube, is to help. Hello, everybody. We have some eager learners. Catherine. Are you Catherine, Judy's friend, Catherine? That I hear so much about? You guys are always arting together? That's awesome. Hi, nice to meet you finally. Leslie, Judy, and I have our daily hour phone call most days, and we talk all things art. I hope we're going to go, Catherine. I really hope so. That's okay, Giselle. No worries. Hello, everybody. So, hi, Vandana. Glad you came. Australia, wow. There's so many people from so many places. It still amazes me that so many people watch me from all over the world. It's really amazing. You are welcome, Denise. Okay, so my first question to you is, anybody painting along with me, or are you watching? I am going to do that, Renee, 100%. Wow, we got Massachusetts. You're close to me, Patty. Yeah. Okay, so we have a little bit of both. That's good. So for the ones that are going to be painting with me, I need to know, are you going to be using Floetrol as a mixing medium or a pouring medium, or what do you have? Because that's going to tell me what I need to do. So we got a lot of Floetrols. Drinking wine. Gail. Okay. So the glue all in water, that recipe is good for the ring pour, swiping, and you can do the Dutch pour with it. I'm not sure how much effect you're going to get out of glue all. Yeah, I've never used the mix. I've never, my experience has been with cells that the only thing besides using silicone that really creates a lot of like cells is Floetrol. Pouring medium, if you're doing something like a ring pour and you're really tilting, you may get some. This is just my personal experience and how my paints behave when I mix them up. So what we can do is I can mix a Floetrol recipe and I can mix a glue all recipe, and we can try it and see which one you prefer. Because I don't see anybody that has pouring medium. I guess unless I missed it, but yeah. So we'll do that. I'm just trying to read the comments and talk at the same time. That's awesome. It's about time she did a Dutch pour, especially she has little flow, which I'm hearing is sold out on Amazon, which is a bummer. All right, so if you have a question, hold off for now, and I'll tell you, when it's time to ask questions, and I'll look at the monitor then and answer as many as I can. But for now, I'm going to pay attention to the table so that I can give you direction. So here's the thing. The three techniques that were requested the most, the Dutch pour, the swipe, and the ring pour, can all be done with one recipe, right? So the difference between the recipes would be the consistency of the paints. So for example, the ring pour and the swipe are going to be the same consistency, whereas the Dutch pour is going to be a little less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up. The easiest way for me to do it would be to mix up my paints as if I'm doing the swipe and the ring pour first, and then when it comes time for the Dutch pour, to add a little more water in to thin it out. So when I do a ring pour, what I like to use is Floetrol, water, and that is it. A lot of people though like pouring medium for I don't know if they get different effects from it or what the reason is, but you can do all these my point is you can do all these techniques with one recipe. You have to figure out what you like more. Now, Floetrol obviously is the easiest way to go. Now, I have Leslie Onstat in here who really does not like Floetrol. So I know she's going to be coming after me when I start teaching my 1 part paint, 2 parts Floetrol, because in actuality, you do not need to use that much Floetrol to get the results that you want in your painting, okay? As you see with the bloom technique, when you mix your colors, you're not mixing them into Floetrol, but you're taking that one color that you're going to use as your cell activator and you're adding the Floetrol just into that one color, and then when you blow it over the colors, it creates all the cells, okay? So in reality, you do not need to use 1 part paint, 2 parts Floetrol. But now this is where my argument comes in. If you're using not bottom of the barrel, but less expensive paints like Artist Loft or Deco Art that's very fluid, they're really not the best quality paints. They're craft paints. They're not fine artist paints. So when you add in just a little bit of Floetrol, you have to add in a lot more water to thin it out to get it to the right consistency. And this is my argument with her all the time. But if you're using better brand paints, like Rinse Gadowna uses nothing but paint and water, right? She's using very good paints, and those paints can withstand that much water. What happens when you add too much water, and a lot of, I don't know if you can find it on the website or where you can find this information, it is out there. Certain paint brands have a threshold, meaning you can add this much water to this paint before it starts breaking down the paint, the chemicals. Leslie knows all the mumble jumble chemistry wording for it. But at some point, if you add too much water to a paint, it'll break down the surface tension, and it can flake off the canvas in a few years. There can be ramifications from too much water. So that's why when I use cheaper paints, I like to use more Floetrol so that I can avoid adding all of that water into my paint. It's an argument that goes on all the time, a healthy argument that goes on all the time in the groups, and I do what I think works best for me, and you guys got to kind of come up with that too. Now, pouring is meant to do with an actual pouring medium, like an Artist Loft pouring medium or Liquitex brand pouring medium. That's, when it first became popular in the art world, it was meant to do with a pouring medium. And somewhere along the line, now Leslie told me this story, Floetrol or Golden's pouring medium or Liquitex, one of those, they ran out and nobody could find it anywhere. And somebody told somebody that Floetrol would work in paint. And that's how the Floetrol came onto the acrylic pouring scene. But originally it was meant to be done with an actual pouring medium. Now, for some reason, again, this is all chemistry, Floetrol creates cells in paintings. Glue-All, I have not had that same experience. Now, it's weird though, because with the bloom technique, I could use glue and water and get a great reaction. And why is that? It's because I'm using paints that have varnish, gloss varnish in them. And some type of chemical reaction happens and it works with that. But for a Dutch pour itself, we'll give it a try and see what happens. Leslie she's the scientist in all of this. She knows, because she has a paint company, right? She knows how to make things and how things work. I can just teach you what I know to help you create a pretty painting, okay? So if you're using Floetrol, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take your cup, because we need to make base paint first, okay? And you need to have a lot of base paint, and this is where my argument comes in with the water. If I need to make a cup full of base paint, I'm going to have to use a lot of water to thin this out. So that's why I like to cut down the water by using the Floetrol. So this is just some Artist Loft white paint, and if you're painting along with me, you can go ahead. I told you to get some bigger cups out. Now, this is a 16 ounce, I believe. This is a 16-ounce cup that I am going to fill up a quarter of the way with white paint. So a quarter of the way with white paint. I'll give you guys a second to do that. Yes, Leslie used to have a good channel. She was on all the time. She needs to come back to us. Very knowledgeable. So you should have your 1/4 cup of white paint now. So into this 1/4 cup of white paint, depending on what paint brand you're using, if you're using a cheapo Artist Loft like I am, then you're going to want to use less water. So I'm going to fill it up. As much paint as I put in the cup, I'm going to put that much Floetrol into the cup. So that's called a 50-50 ratio, a 1-to-1 ratio. Some people do a 2-to-1 ratio. Again, it all depends on how much of this product you want to put into your paints. Floetrol will matte out the colors a little bit, take away some of their shine, but I'm using resin and it brings it right back. I can tell you that. So, by the way, well, I'll mention that in a little bit. So now I went and I added in as much Floetrol as I did paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a big stick, and we are mixing this first recipe right here for the ring pour and for the swipe. But we will be using the same paint for the Dutch pour after we're done with those. So give it a good mix. Now, if you're using a thicker body paint than Artist Loft, you're going to have to add water. If you're using Artist Loft, you're going to have to add water. If you're using a fluid paint like a Deco Art sells a white paint, something that is, here, let me find one here for you so that you know what I'm talking about. I know I have one here. Well, maybe I don't. If you're using a white by Deco Art or a Folk Art white that you bought at Michael's, that you are not going to have to add any water. That's going to be the perfect consistency for a ring pour or a Dutch pour. Is everybody using pretty much Artist Loft for their white? Yeah, so we have a lot of Artist Loft. That's a pretty popular one. Alicia, the ready pour mixed, you don't have to do any of this. You just pour it right out of the bottle. That's the difference. You don't have to add water or anything. It's supposed to be the perfect consistency for paint pouring. So you just add it to your cups and pour it on your canvas. This is how you mix your own paints that aren't pre-mixed. That's okay, Erica. You can just hop right on out. Hey, Leslie, get rid of Erica for me. This is acrylic paint. Okay, Denise, so the Craftsman, you should be able to just add the Floetrol because that's more of a fluid paint and it should be the right consistency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the water to this and I'm going to hold it up to the camera to show you. Hey, Mandy, to show you what the consistency of this is, okay? So for those using Artist Loft, I'm going to now measure my water and tell you how much I put in there. So this is a tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of water so far. And it might be enough, just 1 tablespoon of water. maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to do half of this tablespoon, which would be a teaspoon. So a tablespoon and a teaspoon worth of water. If I had to guesstimate on the paint amount, it would have been 1 cup paint, 1 cup Floetrol. Or no, you know what? 3/4 paint, 3/4 Floetrol. So you don't want it too thin for these two first techniques. So I'm putting in another teaspoon. So now we're up to 2 tablespoons of water, 3/4 of a cup of paint, and 3/4 of a cup of Floetrol. It's very hard to do this when not everybody has the same size cup. The colors are easier because almost everybody has these. It's the base paint. All right, let's see. Yeah. Think I'm going with 1 more teaspoon, and that'll be definitely it. So 2 tablespoons and a teaspoon. Or 2.5 tablespoons. Whatever way you want to look at it. All right, now I'm going to show you the consistency of this. And I'm going to give you a minute to get your paints to the same consistency. It's very fluffy and light in texture. I will say that. Very fluffy and light. And there is the consistency. Maybe I could put some on the surface here, and you could see the amount of trace that it leaves. So it leaves a mound and then it disappears. Okay. So that is the consistency that you're looking for now all of your colors. And that is for the ring pour and the swipe. That's the one that you want for all of them. Yeah. Like I was saying, you don't have to add that much product to it, but you have to be careful with the brand paints you're using. If you're using like a Winsor and Newton white, that one can take, I believe, up to 50% water. Whereas something like a Deco or a craft store white paint is not going to take that much water. So we have our white. Now, let's say we want to do glue. Glue and water, right? Now, the glue and water recipe will work great for the swipe and for the ring pour. The Dutch pour is the one I'm not sure of because I've never done Dutch pour with it because I like the effects that Floetrol gives. And the glue recipe is really, really simple, okay? It's 70% glue, 30% water. It's that simple. So you can actually buy, this bottle right here has a little less than 70%, but you can buy a brand new bottle of glue, dump out 30% of it into something else, fill it up to the top of water, give it a shake, and there's your homemade pouring medium, okay? But we'll do it in the cup. So I'm going to get the other bottle because I can't even get the cap off of this one. So if you want to make a cup full of pouring medium, you would fill it up 70% of the way and then the rest of the way with water. And then what you do is you add 50% of this to your white paint. So I don't want to make that much of it. So what I'll do is put some in one of these little cups here. I'm going to fill this cup up, the 70% with glue. Okay. And then in this cup, I'm going to put 30% water. You have to kind of be able to judge when it comes to this, what your percentages amounts are. You got to think of the item you're putting your glue and stuff into as a whole. So as in a whole, WHOLE, a whole part. So this is 100%. If I fill it up 3/4 of the way, that's like 70%, right? Whereas this, I got about 1/3 of the way, so 30%. So I have the water right up to here, and then the glue in the cup up to 70%. And then you're going to just combine the two of them together. So here, I'll just use this. So I want to have room to mix. A lot of people, when they first start out, they like the glue and water recipe because it's easy to use. It's inexpensive, and it's a great way to practice, you know, and not waste a ton of money on products. So I have the glue in there. Now I'm going to take my 30% water and dump it in. I'm going to give it a mix. Okay, so I'm going to show you the consistency of this, because this consistency right here is a perfect consistency, again, for a ring pour or a swipe. The problem is we have to add white paint into it, so it's going to thicken it up. So the best thing you could do for yourself is, after you mix 70% glue and 30% water, get a feel for the thickness, so that when you add the white paint in and you mix it up and it gets thick again, you know how much water you need to add to it to get it back to this consistency, okay? I'm going to show it to you on a piece of paper again. Okay, just keep mixing it a little bit. And here is that consistency. For that recipe. Okay. So once you add your paint in, it's good. Like I said, it's going to get thicker. So you're going to have to add water back into it again to get it down to that thickness. That's if you're using a paint that has body. If you use a really fluid paint, I don't know if Liquitex sells a fluid white that isn't an interference, or golden for that matter. I don't know if they sell a titanium white that's fluid, but any other paint you're going to use, it's going to thicken it up. So again, I'm going to use Artist Loft, and what I do is, however much pouring medium I made with the glue, I use that much paint in there. So again, it's a 50-50 ratio, a 1-to-1. So in that cup, I have about a half a cup of paint. And I'm just eyeballing on the side of my cup and adding the white paint until it's double the amount. And, you know, I'm going to take a marker and write glue on here right now so I don't confuse the two. All right, so you give it a mix. It's going to be really thick again. So way too thick. So now we're going to add in water. And where's my spoon? It's going to take at least a tablespoon. And you know, when this is over, it usually takes YouTube about an hour or so for them to finalize the live feed. But when it's over, you could always go back and write down the measurements that I was talking about during the video, if that helps. But like I said, I had 3/4 of a cup of the pouring medium we made with glue and water, and then 3/4 of a cup of paint. Okay. And I added 1 tablespoon of water so far. It's going to take at least 2. So there's another tablespoon of water. Now we're not caring about air bubbles, so we're going to whip it. That's what the torch is for. And now it's a really good consistency. So let me get my paper to show you. I'm using all my swiping paper to do consistency tests. So we're back to that nice fluffy white consistency. Okay. So that's that. So I'm going to give everybody like 2 minutes to finish mixing up their white, and then we're going to move on to the colors. Let's see what's going on over this side. Oh, canola's back in. Nice. Thank you, everybody, for coming back. Yeah, I guess so. She's all over the place. So let's talk a little bit about our colors. People always ask me, how do I not get muddy colors? Well, here's the biggest thing that the biggest favor you can do for yourself is get yourself a color wheel. I have one here somewhere. Okay. I'm not going to go over the entire color wheel. Get yourself a color wheel. Go on Google, ask it how a color wheel works, and it will tell you what colors complement each other, which ones don't. I can tell you right now that if you layer paints in a cup the right way, you could pretty much use anything together. But if you don't, you will end up with mud. For example, pink and green together are a no-no. That is a definite mud. Purple and brown together, or purple and green together, will sometimes make mud. If you, however, separate them by complementary colors or by layers of white or black, it will help, and it will avoid you ending up with muddy colors. Another reason why you get muddy colors is from overworking the paint. You do a Dutch pour and you blow it out the first time. You're not happy with the area. You go back, you try it again. You're not happy with that. You blow it again. you're mixing up the colors and they're combining too much. So the best thing you can do is get a color wheel, or you can go online and just do some research as far as color theory and all that. Yeah, color wheels, they are a lot of help. And then you know what? While you're brand new, another good thing for you to do is copy what other people are doing. If you've seen me do a painting and it works out great, use those same colors until you're used to this whole thing, and then explore color theory and all that a little bit further down the road. I can tell you, as a new pourer myself, I made the most ridiculous mistakes. I have a painting, I wish it was here, my very first painting, because it would give you a lot of hope if you saw it. It started off with you want to use every color in the rainbow. I had pink, green, blue, purple, brown, gold, copper. I had this big vision in my head of this big, beautiful, gorgeous painting, and it looked like total mud with a couple of hints of blue here and there. And I was so proud. I varnished it and put it up on the wall. And you know, that's a common mistake. Use a gold or any metallic and 3 other colors that look good together. You know, purple, blue, magenta, green, blue, purple. You know, just start off with the least amount of colors possible until you're used to things, and then work it up. So speaking of color, let's see here. We are going now. I told people the colors I was going to use, whether you got all of those colors or not. That's totally fine. The colors I want to use for all the pours I'm doing tonight are going, and I purposely picked paints of different fluidities so that I could show you the different amounts of products that you have to add to each. So I got a fluorescent blue by Liquitex. I have Prussian blue by Grumbacher. I have deep violet by Liquitex. I have quinacridone magenta from Golden. And I have this old Art Alchemy paint that I had bought at Michael's a long time ago. So those are the 5 colors that I chose. I'm not sure if I want to put a metallic in yet. If I do, it will be the Prism Pour Egyptian coin. But then again, you guys, all of you don't have that. So I want to use a paint that's common. Does everybody have Deco Arts metallics or no? Leslie? Thank you so much. Jeez. I would love to use the Prism Pour colors tonight, but not everybody has them. And the point of this is to teach. So you guys know how. By the way, I forgot to tell you, until the end of this month, the my coupon for Colourarte has gone up to 25%. It is now Tammy 25. So if you're looking to get those new Prism Pour colors, which I will show in a little bit, now's the time to get them. They are gorgeous, especially that Ceylon Cinnamon. All right, so then we will go with the 24 karat for tonight. Although the Egyptian coin is very close in fluidity, they're almost identical, I think. It's just that I want them to be as close as possible. So I'll stick with the 24 karat gold tonight. But I will show you those colors because they are drop dead gorgeous. And if it wasn't for this class, I wouldn't be using Deco Art. I would be using my Prism Pour. So anyway, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got to get my gold. So what I need you to do, first step, is to put your paint into your cups. Now, the amount of paint I'm about to make in these cups, if you're doing a Dutch pour, will last you 2 to 3 Dutch pours. If you're doing a ring pour on something that's, or a swipe on something that is 12 by 16 or smaller, they will last you a couple times. If you're doing something bigger, you're going to need more paint than this. So you would just basically double or triple whatever I do right here if you're doing a big whopping canvas that requires a lot of paint. But the Dutch pour, you kind of just string it through the white. The swipe too, you can kind of just, pour it through and swipe it down through your white, or you could cover the whole canvas and swipe down through the whole thing. It all depends on what you want to do. But for purposes tonight, I don't need more than this. So these are 3-ounce Dixie cups. Into each cup, I'm going to add, well, that's a lie. Into the first 3 cups, this type of paint, a medium body paint, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of paint. Okay? So I'm going to squeeze it in there. About a tablespoon of paint. Monica, thank you so very, very much. I just happened to look over. Yes, if you go to Colourarte.com, you will see the new colors there, or the primary elements, and you use code Tammy25. It'll take 25% off your entire order. So Grumbacher, another paint that is just like Liquitex. I'm going to add the same amount into my cup. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. My Liquitex fluorescent blue, same thing. Now, here's where it becomes tricky. You have a fluid paint like this. You do not need to use that much of this because these are very pigmented. That's why they're expensive. So what I do for something like this is, let's see, we're going to do the Floetrol recipe first. Oh, grabbing the wrong thing. That would have been detrimental. Grab your Floetrol. However much paint you want to make is how much you have to put in your cup, because there's no body really to these fluid paints. So you're using this for your body. So I'm going to fill it up. For a fluid paint, I would start by adding, let's see. Let me do this on a stick so you can kind of see. That much. So, grape size. Start with that, mix it in. And that is for this size cup specifically. If it's not dark enough, now you can start adding a few drops at a time. Whoop, you gotta change that cup. Add a few drops at a time until you get it to the color you want. That is how you do a fluid paint. Now, the other thing that's cool about fluid paints are the consistency is pretty damn close for the ring pour and the swipe. So you don't have to add that much water. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave it right here. I'm loving this light magenta color. Okay. But I'm not going to address water with that yet. We're going to move on. The next color I have, here, let me get rid of this cup because I got a little pink paint in there. Next color I have is this Opal Magic. As I told you, this is Art Alchemy. It's a paint they used to sell at Michael's. I don't even know if they have it anymore. It's like one of those specialty paints they have in the scrapbooking section that's outrageously priced. It's like 20 bucks for 3 little tiny jars. And it's nothing really fancy. It has a little color shift to it, but this was, you know, back in the days when paints like this first got popular, everybody went nuts over them. Now there's much better products. So for this type of product that is, again, very fluid, I put in about a tablespoon. Let me move these to the side. And then the last one, the gold. These will separate. Just mix them back together. I notice a lot of metallics do that if they sit around for a while. So just mix it back together. And then into the cup, again, about a tablespoon or so. You can always add more if it's not bright enough. Okay. Just like that. Cos, thank you. If I missed anybody, thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's so hard for me to keep up with both sides here. I'm very thankful. All right, so now you should have all your paints in the cup. Now we need to go through and add our Floetrol. Now, the problem is that like 1 or 2 of you are using glue and water for your medium. I'm not going to go mix 2 separate sets of colors with glue and water. Just remember that whatever I do with the Floetrol and water, you just do the same with your glue that you made. The most important part of this whole thing is to show you the fluency of the paints. So into this cup, I'm going to add about I have a tablespoon of paint. I'm going to add a tablespoon of Floetrol. Okay. Same thing in the next 2 because they're the same thing, same types of paints. But now this one here is really fluid. So I'm going to add double the amount of Floetrol. All right. And then the 24 karat gold, I have a tablespoon of paint in there. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of Floetrol, or a little tiny bit more. We'll say tablespoon and a half. Vandana, thank you so very much. Oh my geez. Rochelle, thank you. Thank you. Judy, oh my goodness. I gotta put the fan on. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm just waiting 1 second for everybody to get caught up. I'm trying, Rochelle. You know, it's so hard when you're not face to face with a person to watch them and say, wait, don't put that much in, slow down. You know, it's just so hard doing it this way, but I'm trying really, really hard. Judy, you're just an amazing woman. Thank you so much. And anybody else I may have missed because I wasn't looking, really thank you. Thank you. All right. So now we have our Floetrol in. First thing you're going to do is mix your paints all up. Now, We already know these three here with the Liquitex or the Grumbacher paints, the medium body paints, they're going to be too thick. You're going to have to add water. You have to be careful. And you know something? The same with the 24 karat. You have to be careful with these fluid paints because they may be thin enough already. So just mix it up. Now this type of paint, I'm going to tell you some brands: Folk Art, Apple Barrel, Craft Smart, Deco Art, Americana. That is considered a kind of fluid paint. But then again, sometimes, you know, if you get the metallics will be thicker because they have the mica in them. And sometimes some of the Deco Arts are a little bit thicker too. I don't know if it's just from sitting, but these are extremely close to the right consistency for our pour. So what you want to do is take whatever white you made with me. You want to drizzle it on the surface to see the type of pattern it leaves. It should leave a trace. That's a soap making term, trace. When you drizzle something on a surface, it leaves a design and then it disappears. So take your white you made and compare it with this one. Now I can feel, because this one has an interference in it, that it's a little bit thicker. So, but not by much. So I'm going to add to this. Here's a tablespoon. That much. So, I mean, if half of it would be a teaspoon amount, I would say a half a teaspoon. A few drops. And I will show you these on paper also. And now that one is perfect. Just those couple of drops of water helped it a lot. You can move your stick back and forth like this and compare them. Just if you're going to compare consistencies with your stick by feeling it, and you're going to use a bigger cup of paint to do that, go towards the surface more, because if you're down here, you're dragging the stick through all that paint and it's not a fair test. Come up to the top like this. Okay, and I could tell that these are perfect. Okay, so now we have this one to judge off of. Now we know that all of the rest need to be that same consistency. So by adding a few drops of water at a time, don't go crazy, you will be able to feel. You now know from those other colors what that consistency should be like. You know, you can say it's like warm honey, this and that. That doesn't help anybody, unfortunately. I used to say that all the time, and it just doesn't help. I think the stick, using the stick to feel the thickness and compare it against these two, and the paper test that I keep talking about is the best way. Okay, so now this one's good. Now I need to do these three and just, you know, add water until they get to that consistency. And you could kind of tell, like, this one's a lot thicker. You know, it's like pudding. So you're going to need at least a tablespoon of water in there. Okay. Get them all mixed up, and then we'll be ready to go. Now you'll notice I'm using only 2 recipes with colors that are mixed with Floetrol. You can do that. You can use your glue and water white paint along with colors that are mixed with Floetrol. You can use your Floetrol mixed paints along with paints that are mixed with pouring medium. When it comes to regular acrylic pouring, not the bloom, we're not anywhere near that topic tonight. They all kind of work together. They all kind of jive. So that's why you see some artists will make a pouring medium out of glue, water, Floetrol, gloss varnish. They got like 10 things in there. Why do they do that? Because they like the effects of each product that they add. The medium, gloss medium varnish adds shine to the paint when it dries. You know, they have their reasons. Floetrol for the cells. Okay, so this one again, another one that's like pudding. So we're going to have to add some water in it. Let's see what's going on over here. Yeah, the Golden Honey Prism Pour is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Again, if you missed it, I have a code for this month that takes 25% off all Colourarte products, and that's Tammy 25. All one word. Is it all caps, Leslie? Yes, Patricia Kennedy. Yes, you can. You know, and if you have any, okay, so it's not all caps. So it's Tammy 25. Let me just put that in there. Uh-oh. Lost my chat. Come back. I don't know how that happened. Well, can't see my chat box, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. We're going to continue on with this. Yes, Rose, this month only. Somehow I hit something and my chat box is tiny now. That's not good because I can't see the questions. So you see now I'm up to 3 tablespoons of water already in that little bit of Grumbacher because it's a really thick paint and I only added, you know, a little bit of Floetrol. This is what I mean. You know, and if I got to make a whole cup of this, that's a lot of water. Okay, that one should be good. Let me see here. Oh, there you are. I'm so silly. I want to add in some typing into the chat box, and I hit the scroll down bar by accident, and I didn't know that. And I thought the chat box disappeared. Yeah, I will show you guys those colors as soon as we're done here. So I'm still adding water to this one color. This one's a toughie, but I think I'm there. All right, we're on to Deep Violet by Liquitex. And then we're going to start pouring soon. So in here, I'm adding a tablespoon of water. I've done this so much, and you know, when you cook for people your whole life, I've been cooking since I was 16, you kind of learn what a tablespoon looks like. So I know a lot of people out there will understand what I'm saying. So that's 1 tablespoon. 2 tablespoons, and that will be probably enough. So for the medium body paint, we had a tablespoon of paint, a tablespoon of Floetrol, 2 tablespoons of water, then maybe another half, 2.5 tablespoons of water, and we're good. Okay, and the last one, the gold. Norma, thank you so very much. Again, if I missed anything, anyone that donated, I truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. It's very kind of you. So into the Deco Art, I put in a tablespoon of water. Yeah, a little too thick, so we'll do another. So that took 2 tablespoons of water, and I think I'm going to go with another half. So 2.5 tablespoons of water, a tablespoon of Deco Art 24 karat gold, tablespoon of Floetrol, 2.5 tablespoons of water, and we're good. Okay, so now we get our piece of paper from somewhere here. And we test. Bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to find a piece of paper that's big enough, and I'm not finding one. This is when I like to have old canvases. Aha, there's one. I got it. I'm coming. So now you want to get a piece of paper to test your colors on to make sure they are all the same consistency. And if you want, you could also throw your white on there too. I know that one is with this one here. So make sure the puddles are the same size, or else it's not a fair test. Now I'm worried I may have went a little, not put enough in this magenta, but we'll see. Got to kind of get the same amount of paint to make it matter. It looks like all I'm going to be fitting on that card. So you take your card, tilt it, and watch them run. Remember what I said about the magenta? That it felt a little thick? These are running pretty much at the same speed. This one's stuck here. So, Mandy, thank you so very much. Wow. I'm actually like in shock right now. Thank you so much. So we'll add a couple more drops to the magenta. I could tell just by feeling it, it was a little thicker than the rest. Okay. Now it feels better. Now it feels like this and the others. All right. So first up, we are going to do the ring pour. That's going to be first. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to get caught up. I'll say hi to a few friends over here. clean up my mess. Yes, yes, clean up the mess. Thank you so much, Teresa and Nikki. Oh, Nick, wow, thank you. I am just speechless right now. I did not expect this at all. Anna, thank you so very much. Oh, wow. Anna, again, another Anna, thank you. I have been so stressed about so many things. Thank you so much. You guys, you had me in tears over here. Thank you. And this is exactly why I don't come on camera too often. Thank you so very much. You know, I do this because I love to do it. It brings me a lot of happiness, inner peace. I'm trying to compose myself. Give me a moment. And I truly believe in the power. You know, it doesn't matter if you make mud or if you just take some paint and throw it at a canvas. It's an hour that you're not thinking about your troubles or anything that's going on in your life. And I just absolutely love it. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. CSM stuff. Thank you. Yeah, I know more. I know, Norma. I'm stopping. I'm gonna stop. Okay. Let me put my gloves on and get ready. It's just been a very emotional 3 weeks, that's all. Amy, that is so awesome. Sherry, thank you so very much. I'm sorry, Sandy. Oh, wow. Thank you. I got to stop looking at that screen. Whew, I'm having a hot flash. Thank you so much. You guys are all so amazing. I really do consider you like family. I hope you know that. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to calm down. Marnin, thank you so much. Okay, are you guys ready to start pouring? Let's see. What are we doing first? Diana, thank you so much. I gotta look over here and I don't want to miss thanking anybody. So let me say this. I really, really thank you all. That is just amazing. I really appreciate it. So we are going to do the ring pour first. And we need to have a cup. Catherine, thank you. We need to have a cup to layer our paints in, okay? So depending on the size canvas Mountain, thank you so very much. I'm sorry, guys. I have to plug my computer in quick. It's dying. Hold on one second. Depending on the size canvas you have, is what's going to tell you how much paint you need. For something like this octagon or hexagon canvas that I'm using, I would say that approximately I don't know, 3 to 5 ounces of paint would be enough. So maybe a cup a little bit bigger than this worth of paint would be enough. Now there's two ways you could do a ring pour. You can put a base coat down over the entire thing and then just pour your puddle and tilt it around. You can leave a negative space. That all depends on you. My mission right now is to tell you how to layer the paints for the ring pour. Again, it's all on personal preference. I like to put 2 colors and then a white. 2 colors, then a white. Or if you want to use black, 2 colors and a black, 2 colors black, whatever your personal preference is. For some reason, I don't like black for some reason for a background. I don't know what it is. If I'm using like interference colors, stuff like that, I do. But if I am using bright colors, like the palette that I have today, a couple of brights and deeps, I like the white because I feel like they show better. Again, all personal preference. So for this, what I normally do is I put down a whole base coat, because when you don't have a base coat of paint on your canvas and you go to tilt, sometimes the paint of your ring pour will roll over on itself, therefore ruining the design. So if you have that base layer down first, that will help that paint glide all around. So for this one, I will use, I guess, I'll use the glue and water that I made for this one, because I wanted to try that for the Dutch pour. I'll use the Floetrol and water with the Artist Loft white for my base. So, Sue, thank you so very much. Oh, wow. If I missed anybody, I am very sorry. Very sorry. So you can either just pour a puddle and then pour your colors into that and use it, or you could tilt it around and then pour your puddle of paint in the center of it. It's all dependent on what you want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna just cover my canvas with my white paint because that's the way I like to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So just gonna cover the entire thing. Okay. Rebecca, thank you so very much. I just can't believe this tonight. I really can't. I was not expecting this. I was sick to my stomach. Every time I have an auction, I'm so afraid nobody's going to show up or they're not going to buy something. You know, it's just the self-doubt that we're sometimes raised with, you know. I had very loving parents and grandparents, but my grandparents were old school Italian and they spoke their mind. And, you know, back then things were a lot different. You know, if you did something wrong, half of the time you were being called a moron, or, you know, it's not like it is today. So, you know, sometimes you're just raised with that you're not good enough attitude, and that's one of my main problems that I'm trying to fix. Mike, thank you so very much. So we have, I should probably check to see if you guys are in frame. We have our white base paint down, which you're not. we go. Fortunately, those gloves are trash. I hate wasting gloves, especially nowadays. You know, they're hard to get. Linda, thank you for that suggestion. And Linda Radar, thank you. Nazi, thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm at the Grammys. See, there's my defense mechanism. Comedy. You know? Whenever I feel the emotions coming, I just kind of get rid of it by joking. But that's just me. Hey, you know what? Life is good. I cannot complain. Kids are healthy. And I can't say my cats are healthy. That's one of my main stresses. But what can you do? This is life. So here is, I'm going to use a 6 ounce cup for my rain pour, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to layer my paints, okay? So, whatever color you put in the cup first is the last color that's going to come out. So if I put that white in there first, that's going to be the first one, the last one to come out, which I kind of like the white in the center. Again, it's a personal preference, whatever color you like. So, here we go. So take your cup, pick whatever color you want to use first. I wouldn't suggest the metallic. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I wouldn't suggest it. I don't know. I've never ended my pour with a metallic. I'm sure somebody else has, but anyway. I'm going to start mine with some white. Not a lot. Just a little bit. Okay? The more layers you do, the more rings you get, the prettier it is. So with that, I am going to add in one of my first blues. Same amount. Then I will go for a darker blue right next to it. And then a white. But now let's say you wanted to make a shade of purple that you want to use two colors that you know will make a third color. So if you put next a pink or a magenta, with a blue next to it, you're going to get some pretty purple in your pour now, right? Two colors, put some white. Okay, then I'm going to do this nice violet. With some of the gold. Add a little more white. Now technically I probably have enough paint in this cup. Well, maybe not. Maybe a little tiny bit more and it would be enough if you want to leave a negative space. If you're trying to cover your whole canvas, then you're going to need more paint. So I'm going to put this blue in. And then next to that, I'm going to add that Prussian blue again because you know something? I like that color. I love Prussian blue. Some more white. Right, then we get a little more violet. A little more pink or magenta. And I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so there is my cup layered. Now, this is what I do. I don't like to pour out of the cup the way I pour it into the cup. It can cause the paint to drip down the side of the cup. So I'll just turn the cup and pour from this side. And depending on what design you want to do, you just start pouring straight onto the canvas very slowly. I'm going to start right here. And move in a circular motion with your hand. I hope I added enough white to this. If I didn't, we're going to take what we can get. Just go in a circular motion, just like so. And what you really want to try to do is catch it before it does that. I can never catch it. Because believe it or not, that will show up in your design, that little tiny bit of, that little zhoosh, whatever it is. So now you're going to torch your painting. Okay. And you're slowly going to start tilting your canvas, making this puddle of paint go in a circular motion. All right. So nice and slow. You're going to go slow, slow, slow. And start swirling it around. You don't want it to go over the edge yet. You kind of want to let it stretch out a little bit more on each rotation. Sometimes it will go over the edge, like it's about to go on me. You got to try to pour kind of in the center. I kind of poured off the center, but it's okay. So far, it's okay. Okay, and just be patient with it. Bring it back around. It's going to go off on me probably on this pass. That's okay. And right about now, you should start seeing some areas that you really want to keep. Okay. For me, I really like the center area where the white is. So if I'm going to tilt something off, which you're going to have to, it's going to be this here, because I'm not too fond of that. Just take your time. You could always come back this way if you want. Turn it around. Maybe you like a different orientation. So as I said, I don't like this edge here. So I'm going to first let it go over the edge this way. Come back. Okay. I would like to get it to come this way. So we're going to come back this way. You see some cells developing. That is from the Floetrol and the combination of the Deco Art metallic paint, which has a gloss in it because it's an extreme sheen type of paint. You can see I'm getting boulder-like cells, which I absolutely love when that happens. And you're just going to kind of keep tilting until you get something you like. That is the name of the game. Your happiness. Okay? to come back. These hexagon shapes are always so awkward to work on. So I think what I'm going to do is have it come over this edge here. And then I'll have the 3 corners. These 3 areas, I'll leave those white. It'll be something different. So I'm going to stretch it back into the center. Okay? And that's it. That's it. I mean, it's all about layering. Now, the one thing I don't like that I did is I put the gold next to that deep violet, and I just don't like the 2 next to each other because it looks more bronzy now. But also this area here where I didn't catch the drip, it looks like a little swoosh. But overall, it's okay. Overall, it's okay. So that is how you do a ring pour, okay? Again, it's all based off of what you want to do as far as layering your paints. If you want to keep them from getting muddy, add more white. Even you can even do one color and then white, one color, then white, one color, then white. If you're doing a ring pour that has purple and pink in it, keep the purple, or I'm sorry, green and pink in it. Keep the green over by the blue families when you're layering, and the pinks over by the red families, and the you know, that side of the, you could always layer the cup that way is what I'm trying to say. So that's it for that one. How's everybody else doing? Oh boy, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I'm doing fine. I'm ready to do this swipe or Dutch pour. Are there still swipe people in here, or you want to go right to the Dutch pour? It's all up to you. Okay. All right. We'll do both. All right. Let me just move this painting out of the way. Just gotta move it over to the side here. How is the question? My tripod's in the way. Let's see here. Alrighty. Next, I'm going to do the Dutch pour. That's the quickest. And for that, actually, no, I have to do the swipe first because we're using the same paints for all 3 techniques, and I need the paints to be thicker for the swipe than I do the Dutch pour. So the swipe has to be next. Just gotta get something for my hands here. I am a mess. Mess. All right, new gloves. New gloves. I'm going to have to. So next up is the swipe. So the swipe is the same consistency as the ring pour. And there are multiple ways you can do a swipe. You can do a swipe by taking a dry canvas and covering the entire canvas with colors. And you can do a swipe by putting down a base color, and just doing a minimal swipe, kind of like a, I don't know what you would call it. Or here's a little, I'll show you on this little 8x16 canvas. We're going to just plop down right here to make it easy. So what I like to do is I like to put down the white paint, put some colors right along the top, and then just swipe them down. You can also put the colors down the center and go both ways. Now, for swiping purposes, you need to have something that's going to help you create cells. Now, usually I use Floetrol and white paint or black paint to do swiping with. You could also add silicone to your colors. Now, are you guys looking for a silicone-based swipe? Or are you looking for a swipe like maybe Kathleen from Cos Creations does? Tracy, thank you so very much. Wow. No silicone, okay. Okay, so we're going to have to use Floetrol and white paint. I'm going to have to mix up a little bit more. Now, I have tried a swipe with Glue-All as my pouring medium, and I did not get cells unless I used silicone. That's just so you know. That's my personal experience. It may be different for you. I know there's a lot of artists out there that use silicone with Glue-All and water for their recipe. It does not work for me without the silicone. So since we're not using silicone, we're going to try the Floetrol. But the consistency, again, is the same as we made for the ring pour. I'm sorry, the ring pour. So I just mixed up a little more white paint with Floetrol because I didn't have enough. I need to reserve that glue and paint for the Dutch pour to experiment. And I'm just thinking here, that's not going to be a fair experiment because I have Floetrol in my colors. So what I'm going to do after this here is I am going to mix up like two or three colors really quick with the glue and water, because that's got to be, to do a fair experiment, all the colors need to be mixed with the same thing. If you're somebody that's trying to use just glue for pouring, right? So I'm just mixing this up really quick here, and we're going to get right into it. Now, tonight is not about art for me. It's about maybe giving you some helpful tips. Maybe showing something or saying something that you didn't know before. So I'm not trying to produce a beautiful piece of art. I'm just going to warn you right now. So here we go. For the swipe, if you're going to use no silicone, the best bet would be put down your base paint. Oh, and I got blue in mine, apparently. How I did that, I have no clue. It's not like it was on the canvas. It got on my cup somehow. But anyway, we're just going to make a big old mess here. Who cares? Having fun. Tilt it around until your canvas is entirely covered. Okay, just going to add a little bit more here. Just like so. Let's get a coating on there. And we're going to ignore that blue paint that's there. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so now we have our colors that are also mixed with Floetrol. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve. Now we'll use the white. We'll stick with the game plan here. My mind may change. We'll see. So you can either pour them down the center and swipe up and down, or like from the top or the bottom or the side, whatever you want to do. And I'll just use a couple of the colors because I want to make sure I save some for the Dutch pour. Or actually, we don't need these. I keep forgetting. Don't need them for the Dutch pour because we got to have glue-based products for that. So I might as well use them, right? There you go. So here's where, you know, you can either pour the white paint down the center and swipe it out, or you can take a piece of paper and dip it into the white paint with the Floetrol in it. Just like so. See that? Wipe it off on one side. And then kind of just stick it in the paint. And pull down. Just like that. And then, you know, give it some time to develop. It will. The cells are coming. Do the same thing again. You want to use even pressure. And just pull down. Very beautiful cells coming. Very, very beautiful. And what's helping with those cells is something like a Deco Art 24 karat gold or a prism pour Egyptian coin. It has a nice gloss base to it. Helps react with Floetrol, okay? I would suggest, if you really want to get a good contact, though, plastic is a good thing to use. Because with paper like I'm doing, it starts to bend up and it's not making good contact. But as you see there, it's working just fine with the Floetrol. Again, paint and water or glue and water, not so good for me. Maybe other people have done that and it has worked for them, but not for me. Okay, just like that. And you're kind of just going to keep swiping until you get a design that you like. And once the consistency is the see, now this is rolled up on me, so I can't use that anymore. It's not going to make good contact. Once you get that consistency down, it's just, it's so much more fun to do. That's the hard thing, the consistency. Here we can use a palette knife. I know Miss Gail Burston, who is in here, and we are going to collab this week, actually. So be on the lookout for that. She uses a big pie server. So, you know, just find something that works for you. And swipe away. Swipe, swipe, swipe away. Trying to see what else I have here. I have in my Amazon shop specialty palette knives. You could swipe with something like that and give it some grooves. I have this one here that looks like frog's feet. You could try with that, like this little area here where there's still some white. You try to pull it down. Yeah, it made some funky texture and beautiful cells. You can do that. You don't have to dip it. You could just put some in there. Pull it down. Pull it up. Pull them up, pull them down. Let's use the frog feet again. Kind of make some crazy looking waves or flames, whatever you want to call them. You can even use a good old popsicle stick and pull it straight down. It's all in what you want to do. So now what I'm going to do to finish this off is I'm going to get myself a proper piece of plastic and I'm going to swipe. You could also use spatulas and all kinds of things. Listen, I chase my daughter around when she buys my grandson toys. Chase her around for the packaging to get the plastic off the front because it's the best type to swipe with. And if it's the right type, it has these little grooves. So you got something to hold on to. It's amazing and it's free. There's always a way to do this for free. Well, not the paint pouring, but, you know, tools. Another artist I will mention is Priscilla Batzell from Expressionist Art Studio. She comes up with the most ingenious tools to pour with from containers and stuff that, you know, you get your cottage cheese in or whatever. But see how nice this plastic works? You get a nice swipe off of this plastic. I love this plastic. And you know what? If there's an area that you don't like, go right over it. Don't go over it too much, though, because then you will muddy the color. Okay? And just kind of let it sit and develop. So I'm not going to keep going with this. I mean, you get the gist. Like I said, I'm not looking to make a piece of art. You got to be careful that you make good contact and that your swipe paint is as wide as your swipe tool. Because that one wasn't, but it worked out. Okay. Do one more over here. Why not? I'm having fun. For all of you out there that are chefs or that cook and know what the consistency of whipping cream is right when it starts to thicken. So you put the liquid in the bowl with the sugar and the vanilla, and you start whisking it, and it just starts to get a little fluffiness to it. Not fluffy, it just starts to get a little tension thickness. That's what I think this is like. Okay? Personally, that's what I think it's like. Okay? Just like so. Just like so. And it can go on and on and on. But we got some really nice cells from that Floetrol. From the Floetrol and water mix for the swipe. You don't have to have Australian Floetrol. That's just a Shelly Art thing. That's new. Cell activators didn't exist in acrylic pouring world before that technique came out. That term didn't even exist. Only for her it did. So you don't need all that fancy stuff to do a basic swipe. Okay. And now I'm going over and over it, and I'm going to end up muddying it. Got lucky there. You know, you're going to laugh at me, but I might as well just finish it off. Might as well. Well, let's see what happens after it's done developing. See, I lost contact there. Okay, put a little bit here. And then we'll move on to the Dutch pour. Coming from, I'm trying to reach too far. I got tripods and all kinds of things in my way here. And you know, I never really just sit down with nothing recording and just enjoy myself, and I need to do that more. So this area right here is a little dull, and it needs to come back to life for me. I'm going to go over it one more time in hopes that it does. But this is really actually a really pretty painting, believe it or not. Unfortunately, I can't do close-ups because of the whole live thing, but it is very pretty. You got some pretty rainbow, golden rainbow cells in this one. And you know what? It's, say like you're worried about this area here and it's not really coming out. You can also put down just a little bit of paint and swipe over it again really quick. Just like this. Okay, just a couple of colors. You don't need many. Not even sure what colors I used originally. Put some gold in there. My point is you could just keep going with it. Until you're happy. So here we go. One more pass through this area, and I promise I will move on, whether it's good or not. It's just like, you know, you got a pretty decent painting now. And I don't want to give up on it. So I got to get a new piece of plastic because that one is really... Actually, I'll just use some paper for these last couple. Sometimes areas are stubborn and they just don't want to develop, you know? Sometimes that is the case. I have quite the mess here. Okay, that's it. Now we'll leave it and we will move on to the Dutch pour. How is everybody? Everybody good? Wow, 328 still watching. That is amazing. All right, so I'm going to move my paints away here because we want to test the glue and water for the Dutch pour. I have to make a couple of colors with glue and water. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to move that I'm not going to be using out of the way. As much as I can. I'm kind of out of room here because I've done now 2 paintings and going on to a 3rd. I really would love to move this swipe somewhere else, but I have nowhere at the moment that I could do that with. So, kind of just cramming everything in here. What else is new? What else is new? All right, we got a big mess. Big old mess. But this is reality. This is what we all do when we do this. You know? That's one thing with my channel. I've never been the one that worried about coming on with a big fancy studio and everything clean. Listen, I'm here to teach. And that's what I'm going to do. The other stuff is not necessary. Not necessary at all. So now I'm going to put this canvas down here. And I'm wondering, I'm going to have to be very careful with my swipe right there. I'm going to have to move you guys a little bit. Whoop. And we're going to say a prayer in hopes that Debbie, thank you. In hopes that I don't blow paint on that swipe because I actually like it. Shelly, thank you so much. I really, really, really should move that, but I have nowhere to put it right now, unfortunately. I'm at a loss. Woe is me. Here's what we could do. You know what? Maybe the answer is not the swipe. Maybe the answer is a smaller canvas. Thank goodness I have little feet on this one. I'm going to move that right over here out of the way. Okay. Here is a failed a failed experiment. We're going to pour it right over. It's a little bit better. You got one of my boa feathers. It was stuck. I have a big fancy boa in here that I always say I'm going to put on and come on camera, and I never do. All right, so this is a really bad experiment here. And we're going to pour right over it and do a mini Dutch pour. Now, here's one thing I could tell you about the Dutch pour, and this is my personal opinion. I feel very constricted when I have to do a Dutch pour on anything smaller than a 12 by 16. I don't know what it is. They're so, you want to be able to have room to blow out those big pretty fans. So every time I have to do one on a smaller canvas like this, I feel very constricted, and it messes with my mind, and it tells me it's going to look like crap. So why bother? And I go to do the video, and that doubt again gets to me, and it looks like crap. So I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to think positive, and we're going to do a Dutch pour using glue and water only to see what the effects are. I cannot wait to show you guys this swipe on my channel in my next video once it's dry in resin. It is so pretty. All right, enough chatting. Yip yapping. We're going to make, we'll do a gold, 2 blues, and a magenta. That should do it. So now I'm going to show you how I mix colors when I'm not teaching. I'll just let you watch along. So if I were using glue and water, I would do this. I'd fill that up. I would take some water, do the 30% thing again. Take the two and combine them. That's only for to help you guys. I would have just thrown them in this cup and did 30% water in there. Eyeballed it. But I'm doing exact measurements for you for this part here. So there it is. Okay, there's that. Water. I think I said I was going to do 2, so I'll do one more. Got to get one more cup here. Here we go. Okay. Now this is important because you got to pay attention to the amount of water that we have to add into this for the Dutch pour. So I'm telling you right now, when you do the 70-30 mix on the glue, it's the same consistency as Floetrol. So let's add in some paint. You don't need much. And we're going to do 2 blues and I'm sorry, a magenta and gold. So here's 1 blue. Got about a tablespoon of paint. I'm not going to need that much for this canvas, but I'm trying to keep it about the same for you guys learning wise. All right. Here's my Prussian blue. And I'll do about a grape size amount of paint. Let's see, magenta. Magenta, magenta. Remember, this is a fluid, so we're going to wait until the medium is in the cup. And then here is our gold again. Get a stick. And we'll put about a tablespoon, between a teaspoon. Yeah, that's probably close to a teaspoon of paint there. Okay, now into each cup except for the fluid one. Well, no, we didn't add the paint in yet. So into each cup, I'm going to add the same amount of glue and water mixture as paint. So that. Now that into this cup here. And now here is one, even though there's no paint, I'm still putting the medium in there. Here's a tip for you. This Grumbacher, Prussian blue, loves to clump up if you add products to it too fast. And the other heavy body paints also will do that, such as Golden's brand heavy body paints. If you go and add all of your water and everything at once into the cup and try to mix it, it's going to be a disaster. So for that one color only, little tiny drip of the glue and water. Mix it into like a paste. Another little drip until you add in your whole amount, which should be the same amount of paint. So, I mean, I think there was a tablespoon there, so now I have a tablespoon of that mixture in there. Okay, just like that. For the fluid colors, again, a couple of drops until you get to a color that you like. That is way too light. That's much better. Now, here's a tip for you. I don't know if any of you out there mixing right now have a fluid paint, but the consistency of the fluid paint with the glue and water recipe or the Floetrol one, well, no, the Floetrol you need to add a little tiny bit of water. I'm going to show you how thin this is because this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect, this one. This is what you want your paints to look like. So you're going to add water to them until they are this consistency. They run nice. If you want to go thinner, you can go thinner even. But that's a good consistency right there for Dutch pour paints. Let me add some water to this gold because it definitely needs it. And I can show you that. And then what I'll do for the people out there using Dutch Floetrol for their Dutch pours, I'm going to take one of our other colors and I'm going to thin it out to the right consistency. That's what I'll do. So this is for the glue and water, people. They need to be really fluid. If your paints are not moving with your blow dryer, they need to be thinner. Believe it or not. Some people are afraid to use water, but it is definitely needed for this technique. And you know something? I'm going to use a different canvas because I forgot that this canvas, I tested milk paint on it. And I don't want to, it's going to reactivate. I know if it gets wet, it's going to reactivate. So that's not good. Amy, thank you so much. I know we're almost done here. We're almost done. Sorry, it takes a long time to do something like this with 3 different techniques. Okay, so Dutch pour people that have Floetrol in their paints. Let me show you this one. Actually, this won't be a good one. There's not enough in there. Let me do the magenta again. I also have a video, back to basics video, the beginner's Dutch pour. I think it was 2 weeks ago. If you go to my videos and look down the line there, you'll see it, and it's extremely thorough. And I did that one with Floetrol also. So here's the paints. Let me show you how thin they actually are for the Floetrol users. And also for the glue and water people. This is what they need to be like. Ready? So they run really fast. Okay? So there's that. And actually, you know what? No. I can't. Sorry. I was going to say I don't care if the painting turns out or not. I'll just use this. But we're doing a test, Tammy. Come on, get with it. It's very late. I know. I'm tired too, believe it or not. So here we go. I'm going to take these. I'm going to get this back out of the way. And I'm going to use my bigger canvas. And I'm going to have to just be careful with that swipe painting there. Here's that. Just going to try to move some of this stuff over to the side. I hope I have enough glue and white paint mixture now. I didn't even think about that. This is a big canvas. Well, this would have to be thickened or thin too. It's just too thick. So let me thin it out and make sure I have enough. If you ever get water on your canvas, do not leave it there. Make sure you wipe it off because it will interfere with your paints drying. That little drop of water, believe it or not. If people are leaving, thank you so very much for coming. I truly cannot thank you enough, really. I am almost done here. We're just going to do this last one. All right, so here, watch the paints as they pour down the canvas, okay? I'm going to move that water bottle. Give me a second. This is glue and water. Let me make sure you're on there before I do this. Crooked, but you're there. What else is new? I'm always crooked. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to tilt this canvas really quick for you guys to see the consistency. And this is what you want with your Dutch or your Floetrol or your glue, or if you want to try pouring medium. Here we go. See how fast that runs? It's very watery. Very watery. This here. Let's go and finish her up. Hopefully we have enough paint here to cover this. then there's two different ways you can do this. Well, three. You can either use a spatula to blow your paints around, to blow your base paint around on the canvas to cover it. You can use a blow dryer, or you can pour it on and tilt it like I'm about to do right now. Either will work. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush here. I know people are leaving. All right. So you could just tilt. I like to tilt. You do waste some paint, but so you could hear it hitting the table. It's really watery. Now, I'll tell you what, it's got a lot of air bubbles in it from mixing. So I'm going to have to either get a spatula to spread it out over here. Oh, I got some paint on my fingers. Can't work in these these kind of, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. In this kind of environment, maybe. All right, unfortunately, I cannot lower the volume because this is alive for the blow dryer. So just bear with me here. I'm trying to plug it in. Okay. All right, let's see here. I'm going to put the blow dryer on low and hope that I don't hit that painting. It's not going to be strong enough on low. All right, good enough for now. All right, so we have it covered, and what you want to do is torch that background. Tracy, thank you so very much. Oh, thank you so very much. What an emotional night this has been for me. Torch, torch, torch. And I know it's not really going over the sides here really good. So I'm going to have to be forced to dig at this cup to try to get a little bit more out. I'm just out of the white paint that has the glue. And I'm not going to mix up more just for this little tiny bit. If I have to, I'll cover it with the Floetrol paint when we're done. The sides. Not worried about that right now. Okay. All right. So pouring a straight line of color across, I find, is very hard to design. So a sideways S is the only way that I can really think of explaining it to you. Helps. Now, you got to think about where you're going to blow. So let's say you want a fan right up here. You need some paint to come down this way, right? So it would come up this way, and then you would blow it down. And then you have it come up again, and then down. So you could kind of go maybe something like that. Work with it. That's what I could say, work with it. I put a little bit of this. I probably should have put down a darker blue first, but I didn't. And this is glue and water. I don't know how it's going to react for this. I've never done it. Never. Get this over here. Some gold. I'm going to be coming from your side. Now, in theory, that's plenty of paint. But I'm also known to put way too much paint. And I'm going to do it again. Because that's just me. I want some more of this darker blue. And another thing with Dutch pour paint is it spreads out a lot because of the water. But I notice with that glue, it's spreading out a lot more. Usually it doesn't spread this much. And look, it's starting to fractal. Do you know what fractaling is? Fractaling is when the paint kind of makes these lightning strikes come out of your artwork. So the paint starts to reach almost. You're going to see, I'm going to let it sit here for 1 second. It's getting very wispy around the edges. And I bet you it's going to fractal. Jackie. I have tilted my phone before, Jackie, just so you know. Okay, so see, can you guys see that it's growing a little bit, the paint? So there's one effect of glue and water. There's one effect of it. And I'm going to add a little bit more of this blue, this lighter blue, because it's actually really pretty when it hits the magenta. All right, so, well, it's definitely starting to grow, and it looks like it's going to fractal. I'm going to blow it out. We'll see what happens. We're trying to see what happens. Maybe we'll get some cells. Maybe we won't. But I don't like that reaction right there, because then when your design is done, it's going to start growing like that and doing that funky thing. I just do not like it. Some people love it. I don't. Unless it's done purposefully, and there are ways to do it purposefully. But yeah. So I'm going to blow from right here, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to blow right here, up, and I'm going to come down this way, and this way, and kind of just go with the flow. Yeah, it looks like little hands reaching out. Now you guys are really starting to be able to see it. So here we go. I'm going to put the dryer on low, okay? Yeah, Marsha, I know what those are all too well. I'm going to put the blow dryer on low. It will work fine on low for the puddle. The reason why it wasn't working good on here is because I have barely any paint left and I don't have enough on there. Hopefully it doesn't affect the outcome here. So blow and kind of go like so. And we are getting some cells. Look at that. Hey, that looks really, really pretty. It could be the combination. Could be the combination of the gloss and the glue. Fortunately, you don't know with these things, but you take notes and you write down what does work. And so far, this is really, really pretty. So what we need to do is cross our fingers that it stays this way. And it doesn't start doing this around the outer edge, because that's going to break my heart. All right. So, you know, if this was the real world and I had time to do this, I would fix this area right here. But because I know you guys are getting tired of me, I'm going to kind of just leave things alone. Maybe once the camera's off, blow this out a little bit to stop it from fractaling. But hey, look at those colors. And I did not use a lot of colors. Do you see how rich that is? I really want to take you out of there and show you how beautiful this is. I wonder if I can get close to the canvas. Oh, I want to address something about the blow dryer. I saw somebody say this in my group the other day. They're worried because the concentrator is getting hot. And they're worried that, I don't know what they're worried about, but every blow dryer I have that has a concentrator gets hot from the hot heat. It's got hot air blowing through it. So it's just natural for that to happen. But here's the thing. Hot air is not going to bother this paint unless you sit here 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,005, 1,006, 1,000. Stay in one spot and keep blowing, but it's never going to bother it. You're just supposed, as you saw, you're supposed to blow it out and move on to the next area. The heat has nothing to do with it. So that I just wanted to bring up. I almost forgot about that, but I really, really love this. I do not like this little area here, but hey, whatever. I'll play around with it a little bit afterwards and maybe cut in a little bit over here. I don't know. It's the colors are gorgeous. And that was glue and water. But now try to do that same exact pour, not using the same paints, and it might not turn out that way. That's the name of the game with acrylic pouring, unfortunately. You know, it's all about testing. And yes, I'm going to show it to you guys up close. Here's the thing. Sometimes when you get up close, the camera will cut out. So I want to thank everybody and just say I'm so very grateful for you all coming tonight. In case I lose you and it shuts off on me, I just am absolutely honored and thankful to have you watching me. I really am. I really, really am. I'm so tempted to tilt this a little bit that way. So I hope some of this helped some of you tonight. I don't know. This other painting is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take you out and I'm going to try my best to get close to the camera. Hopefully it doesn't give a hard time. Let me just see something quick here. Excuse my hand for a minute. Okay, here we go. So here is that. Look at this area. It's absolutely gorgeous. But do you see what I mean about the paint reaching out? Michelle, were you painting along with me and it worked? The colors are really beautiful. That's awesome, Michelle. That's okay. That's okay. It's all the same thing. Yes, if you have the option of a cold or a cool button on your blow dryer, you should be using it on the cool setting. But if you don't, there's nothing is going to happen to your painting if you're doing it the right way. So there you have it. I will have to mix up some more white paint and play with it after. But right now, I'm ready to drop from standing for 4 hours. So I really appreciate all of you. Don't forget, Catherine, I hope we get to go too. I'm ready to go to Belize. Oh, let me show you the swipe. Look at this. I wish my flash would come on, but it's not going to. Look at pretty colors. I can't wait to resin this because those colors are like rainbow gold cells. And then somewhere in the mess here is the ring pour. So anyway, I love you all. I cannot thank you for the support that you showed me tonight. I'm just truly honored. I don't know what else to say. I just am grateful. Thank you so very much. As always, I will see you on YouTube at some point with the next video. And I have a bunch of primary elements and prism pour videos coming out and some old school techniques we're going to continue on with. So I'm going to go sit down now, grab a kitty, and watch some TV. And probably try to fix this corner because it's driving me crazy. And these little reachy-roos there. All right, my friends, thank you so very much for joining me. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. And as always, happy pouring.